apparently Google does not have any issues with JavaScript. So I read this a few days ago on Search Engine Roundtable, and I've been wanting to have a moment to comment on it, and finally I do. So Google removed a whole section from its JavaScript documentation because it was outdated, right? So what did Google say? Google removed outdated information about JavaScript and accessibility, and the reason was the information was out of date and not as helpful as it used to be. Google search has been rendering JavaScript for multiple years now, so using JavaScript to load content is not making it harder for Google search. Most assistive technologies are able to work with JavaScript now as well. So apparently, Google is telling us we don't need to stress about JavaScript and it deals with it just fine. The section that was removed is it says create pages for users, not just search engines. When you're designing your site, think about the needs of your users, including those who may not be using a JavaScript capable browser. Blah, blah, blah. One of the easiest ways to test your site's accessibility is to preview it in your browser with JavaScript turned off, or to view it in a text-only browser such as Linux, and so on, right? So apparently, Google wants to tell us that it's okay, we don't need to worry about JavaScript, it's all good, right? I kind of disagree. Personally, I've seen websites having indexability problems because they're very heavy on JavaScript. I'm not saying JavaScript is the only reason. They were also having thin content issues and so on. So, I mean, it's still a concern in my opinion, but you know what? I'm not the only one. So I've seen this post and I agree with it. So Jen Willem says, Google is gaslighting the entire SEO industry about JavaScript, right? And then he talks about Google removing the section, the design for accessibility section from their official JavaScript SEO documentation, and that JavaScript rendering is no longer a barrier. He said here, I manage SEO across hundreds of properties. I see what actually happens when Google tries to render JavaScript sites. Every single day, this is the fifth update to the same document since December 2025, part of a systematic campaign to replace broad cautions with specific technical guidance. Here's what I see that Google apparently does not. Content behind tabs, accordions, load more buttons, completely invisible. Google does not click. Google does not scroll, and Google does not interact. That content simply does not exist for them. A contradiction, actually. Google's own documentation on developers.google.com admits that a JavaScript-generated product markup makes shopping crawls less frequent and less reliable, right? And so on. A lot of interesting things. It's going to make it challenging for us to get JavaScript recommendations and fixes implemented, right? So I guess myself and others have concerns. And flashback to when this happened. Remember when early last year, Google forced users to turn on JavaScript to use search, and then Google said fewer than 1% of searches on Google are done by people who disable JavaScript. Also, enabling JavaScript allows us to better protect our services and users from bots and evolving forms of abuse and spam, and to provide the most relevant and up-to-date information. But this caused a lot of tools to break, right? So, and obviously JavaScript is still a challenge for AI platforms. So if these are important to you, you still need to work on JavaScript. But what if this is also part of Google's, you know, making it more complex for other platforms to access your content? So, I mean, I guess we're not sure. Google says, Google does. At the end of the day, we need to test things ourselves. Let me know what you think and see you next video. Bye!